Good morning, dear children. Hope all are doing well. So, after 1 month vacation, we are back to our portions. We have completed section A, isn't it? Theory portion of section A of the chapter calorimetry. And next we should do the numericals. So, I think we have to revise what all things we have learned, isn't it? So, after a small revision, we will move to the numericals. Okay. So, what is calorimetry? Do you remember? What is calorimetry? Calorimetry means it is the measurement of quantity of heat, isn't it? So, in section A of this chapter, first we have discussed about the differences between heat and temperature. What is heat? Heat is the total internal energy of all the molecules of the body. Then temperature is the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. Which letter is used to represent heat? It is capital Q, isn't it? Capital Q is used in order to represent heat. Heat absorbed by a body depends on 3 factors. Which are they? Depends on the mass of the body, temperature and nature. Isn't it? Now, after that we have discussed certain terms. So, which were they? First one was heat capacity or thermal capacity. Isn't it? Heat capacity or thermal capacity is represented by C dash. Okay. So, you should be thorough with these terms as well as the equations. Then only we can do the numericals. Okay. So, C dash stands for heat capacity or thermal capacity. And what is heat capacity or thermal capacity? It is the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of a substance through 1 degree Celsius. How much heat energy is required to raise the temperature of a body by 1 degree Celsius? That is heat capacity or thermal capacity. So, what is its equation? C dash is equal to Q by delta T. Isn't it? So, C dash is the heat capacity or the thermal capacity. Q stands for heat. Delta T stands for change in temperature. T means it is temperature and here it is delta T. Delta T means it is the change in temperature. After that we have this, and one more thing, what about the unit? C dash is equal to Q by delta T. What is the unit for Q? Q means it is heat. Heat is a form of energy, so it is joule. Then temperature comes in the denominator. So I should put the bar sign. What is the SI unit for temperature? Kelvin. So joule per Kelvin is the SI unit of heat capacity. Now the next one is specific heat capacity. So specific. What do you mean by specific heat capacity? How much heat energy is required in order to raise the temperature of unit mass of a substance. In the case of specific heat capacity, we are specifying the mass. In the case of heat capacity, we are considering the body as a whole. But in the case of specific heat capacity, we are specifying the mass of the body. So, how much heat energy is required to raise the temperature of unit mass of a body by 1 degree Celsius? That is specific heat capacity. So, what is the equation? C is equal to Q by M delta T. Isn't it? So, specific heat capacity is Q by M delta T. And what is its SI unit? Q in terms of joule. Mass and temperature comes in the denominator. So, it is kilogram Kelvin. So, joule per kilogram Kelvin is the SI unit of specific heat capacity. Now, we learned a relation connecting these two. What is that? It is C dash is equal to Cm. Isn't it? So, please be thorough with these three equations. You can put today's date, then note these three equations first. Okay. So, without writing this or without by hearting these equations, it will be difficult for you to do the numericals. Okay. So, please note these three equations. Ready? So, which were they? Heat capacity C dash is equal to Q by delta T. Specific heat capacity C is equal to Q by M delta T. Then the relation is C dash is equal to Cm. Okay. After that, we have learned about calorimeter. What is a calorimeter? Calorimeter is a cylindrical vessel which is used in order to calculate the heat energy absorbed or liberated by a body. Isn't it? Now, using a calorimeter, we can calculate the amount of heat energy by the principle of calorimetry. And what is the other name given for principle of calorimetry? It is also known as principle of method of mixtures, isn't it? So, principle of calorimetry or principle of method of mixtures. And do you remember what is the principle of calorimetry? When a hot body is mixed with a cold body, and if no heat is given to the surroundings, heat energy lost by the hot body will be equal to the heat energy gained by the cold body. Okay. So, once again, according to the principle of calorimetry, when a hot body is mixed with a cold body, what happens? If no heat is given to the surroundings, when you are mixing or keeping a hot body in contact with a cold body, naturally heat flows from hot to the cold body, isn't it? So, the heat energy lost by the hot body will be equal to the heat energy gained by the cold body. And this is actually based on the law of conservation of energy. Okay, so is it clear? Now, we have learned about the mathematical expression of this principle of calorimetry. And we have many numericals based on this. Okay, based on the principle of calorimetry or principle of method of mixtures. Do you remember that? So, heat lost by hot body is equal to heat gained by cold body. This is the principle of calorimetry. Now, we have a mathematical representation for this. So, how will we write? So, before writing that, what all things should come to our mind? We are having a hot body and a cold body. Let A be the hot body, B be the cold body. Now, M1 is the mass of the hot body, C1 is the specific heat capacity of this, and T1 be the temperature of the hot body. Similarly, M2 is the mass of the cold body, C2 is its specific heat capacity, and T2 is its temperature. Okay, so we are considering two different bodies, which are they? A and B. Then mass of A is M1, specific heat capacity is C1, temperature is T1. M2, C2 and T2 are the mass, specific heat capacity and temperature of the body B. Now, here, when you are mixing T1 and T2, the final temperature attained will be T. And one more thing, temperature, this is a hot body. So, T1 is always greater than T2. Isn't it? T1 is greater than T2. By mixing these two, the final temperature of the body is T. Keeping these things in mind, we have to write the equation. What was the equation to calculate specific heat capacity? C is equal to Q by M delta T. Now I am going to write this equation in terms of Q, because here we need the equation in terms of Q. Heat loss is ours and heat gain is ours. So we need the equation in terms of Q. So what is the equation for Q? Q is equal to C into M delta T, or you can write MC delta T. So the equation for heat is MC delta T. Okay. So we are going to write the mathematical expression for principle of calorimetry. Here it is heat loss is equal to heat gain. So the actual or the standard equation for heat is MC delta T. So first one is heat loss by the hot body. Our equation, standard equation is, I told you, it is MC delta T. So what is the mass of the first body, that is hot body? M1. What is the specific heat capacity of the hot body? C1. Now, when you are mixing this hot body with the cold body, what happens? Heat gets transferred from hot body to the cold body, isn't it? So, what instead of delta T, what should I write here? It will be T1 minus T. Why did I write like this? This is the hot body. This body is losing heat. Okay. So, T1 is greater. It is giving away heat. Then, the final temperature by mixing these two is T. That is why we are writing here as T1 minus T. T1 is greater because that is the hot body. By losing heat, the final temperature becomes T. Now, what should I write here? For the cold body, mass is M2. Specific heat capacity is C2. Then what should I write here? Is T2 or T greater? T is greater, isn't it? By absorbing heat from the hot body, the temperature becomes T. That means here it is T minus T2. Okay. So this is the mathematical expression for principle of calorimetry. So what is the equation? M1 C1 T1 minus T is equal to M2 C2 T minus T2. Why did we write like this? Because T1 is the temperature of the hot body and it is losing heat. T2 is the temperature of the cold body. It is absorbing or gaining heat. And by mixing these two, we are getting the temperature as T. So by heart this equation also. Okay. So please write these two things. This also you can note in your book. Once you are thorough with these equations, we can move to the numericals. Okay. Write page number 270, numericals. So first question, by imparting heat to a body, its temperature rises by 15 degrees Celsius. What is the corresponding rise in temperature on Kelvin scale? So, by applying heat, the temperature of a body increased by 15 degrees Celsius. How much is the rise in Kelvin scale? Do you want to do the conversion here? No, because they didn't ask you to calculate the value or temperature in Kelvin scale. They just asked what is the change. Degree Celsius 15 degree Celsius change and Kelvin scale endana change. So already I told you, when you are considering the change, it will be same in a Celsius scale as well as Kelvin scale, because the interval between LFP and UFP are same here. Okay, so what is our answer? 15 Kelvin. Since change is same, you can write the answer as 15 Kelvin. And what is the reason? Since change is same in Celsius scale and Kelvin scale. Okay, 15 Kelvin since the change is same in Celsius scale and Kelvin scale. Now we will move to question number 2. Two subdivisions are there. Calculate the heat capacity of a copper vessel of mass 150 gram. So mass is given as 150 gram. If the specific heat capacity of copper is specific heat angle C, heat capacity angle C dash. Okay. So C is given as 410 joule per kilogram Kelvin. In the textbook, they didn't put that bar sign. That is why kilogram raised to -1, Kelvin raised to -1. Since I have given the bar sign, no need to put it as negative power. Okay. So, what should you calculate from here? Here we have the mass as well as specific heat capacity, isn't it? Mass and specific heat capacity are given and we are asked to calculate the heat capacity. So, what is our relation? C dash is equal to Cm. And here one more thing you have to check. Mass is given in gram. Specific heat capacity is given in kilogram. So, you have to convert this. Okay. Gram to kilogram means dividing by 1000. So, it is 0.15 kilogram. Now, we can do it directly, isn't it? 410 into 0.15. So here, when you multiply, how much we will be getting? 0.410 into 0.15. You will be getting it as 61.5. Okay. So you please multiply and check. I am not wasting time in doing the calculations. So you will be getting it as 61.5. And what is the unit? This is thermal capacity or heat capacity. So joule per Kelvin. Okay. Then, what is the next question? B. How much heat energy will be required to increase the temperature of the vessel in part A from 25 degrees Celsius to 35 degrees Celsius? 25 degrees Celsius il ninnum 35 degrees Celsius lekku pogan how much heat energy is required? So, what is the equation for heat energy? Q is equal to mc delta T. Okay. This by heart aaki vekka. C dash equal to C equal to adu koodade Q ennu parnal what should come in your mind? mc delta T. Okay. So how much is our mass? 0.15. How much is the specific heat? It is 410. Then temperature from, it is given as 25 to 35 degree. Delta T, I told you it is rising temperature. Initial temperature and final temperature will be given. We have to subtract it. 45 minus 35. So I think it is 35 and 45. Sorry, 25 and 35 is given here. So 35 minus 25. 10. 0.15 into 410 already we have it as 61.5. This into 10 which is equal to 615. Since it is heat, Q either what will be the unit? It is joule. So 615 joule is our answer. Okay. Now we will move to question number 3. A piece of iron of mass 2 kilogram has a heat capacity of 966 joule per Kelvin. Okay. So here mass is given as 2 kilogram. Then heat capacity. It is just heat capacity. So C dash is equal to 966 joule per Kelvin. Find the heat energy needed to warm it by 15 degrees Celsius. That means delta T is given as 15 degrees Celsius. We have to calculate the heat energy as well as specific heat capacity. In heat energy kannam. So we know two equations. We learned C dash is equal to Q by delta Tm. C is equal to Q by M delta Tm. From both these things, we will get the value of heat. So, which one should I use here? Since C dash is given, it is better to use the first equation. So, Q is equal to C dash into delta T. That is 966 into 15. So if you multiply 966 with 15, you will be getting 14,490 joule. Okay, this will be the value. You can just multiply and check. 14,490 joule is the answer what we get here. Now, our second question is to calculate the specific heat capacity. So, what is our equation? Specific heat capacity C dash is equal to Cm. So, C will be C dash by M. How much is C dash? 966. Mass is 2. So, how much is 966 divided by 2? 4, 8. So, this is 483. Specific heat capacity ayadonde joule per kilogram Kelvin. So, 480 joule per kilogram Kelvin is our answer. 483. Okay. There I wrote 3. Here I wrote 80. So, 483 joule per kilogram Kelvin. Okay. Now, we will move to question number 4. Let those equations be there. We are doing using those equations. Okay. Now, question number 4. Calculate the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 100 gram of copper. So, mass is 100 gram. Anyway, we will put it as 1 kg. 0.1 kg, not 1 kg. 0.1 kg. From 20 degrees Celsius to 70 degrees Celsius. Now, delta T is equal to 70 minus 20, which is equal to 50 degree Celsius. Then, specific heat capacity of copper. Specific heat that is C, 390 joule per kilogram Kelvin. So, what should we calculate here? Amount of heat energy. So, to calculate heat energy, we have two equations, either C dash delta T or MC delta T. Which one should I use here? Since C is given, our equation is Q is equal to MC delta T. So, 0.1. While I convert it into kilogram, here kilogram. Here gram, you can keep it as such. It's better not to change this. You can change the other one. 0.1 into 390 into 50. So, this will be 39 into 50. 9 into 5. 15. Then 195. So, 1950 joule will be the amount of heat energy. 1950 joule. So, is it clear? Okay. Now, we will move to the next question. Question number 5. (1,300 joule of heat energy). So, what is that? Q. Joule anengil, it is Q. 1,300 joule of heat energy is supplied to raise the temperature of 0.5 kg. So, mass is equal to 0.5 kg of lead from 20 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius. Delta T is equal to 40 minus 20, which is equal to 20 degrees Celsius. Calculate the specific heat capacity of lead. So, specific heat capacity means what we need? It is C, isn't it? So, C is equal to Q by M delta T. So, here also you can see mass is in kilogram, Q is in joule. Here, temperature is given in degrees Celsius, but I told you, in the case of temperature, if it is in Celsius scale or Kelvin scale, change is same. So, no need to make any conversion there. 1,300 divided by 0.5 into 20. Okay. So, here, this 0 can be used in order to change the decimal point. Up 1,300 by 5 into 2, 10. 130 since it is specific heat capacity joule per kilogram. ഇവിടെ Celsius ആയതുകൊണ്ട് degree Celsius കൊടുക്കുക. If you put it as Kelvin also it is okay because both are same. Okay. We'll put it as Kelvin because അതല്ല SI systemത്തിലെ actual value. So is it clear children? Next one comes from the next topic. So we have completed till question number 5. So remember what all things you have to remember. I'll be asking the equations and units during the Google Meet. Be thorough with the equations for heat capacity, then specific heat capacity. Heat capacity C dash is equal to Q by delta T. Specific heat capacity C is equal to Q by M delta T. C dash is equal to Cm. And from both these equations, Q means C dash delta T or MC delta T. Okay. So thank you children.